Oh, hello everyone, and thank you for having me here today. And thank you, Alina, for your warm introduction. So today's presentations is Feel Better with Art. I'm going to be briefly touching on art therapy, three of the benefits of doing art, which includes brain activity, self-care, mental health, and well-being. I'm also going to talk about two research and studies about art. I'm also going to be talking about pearls. And uh, I'm also have a list of art activities that you could do, particularly at home right now that we're all stuck in this pandemic, and art supplies that you already have at home. Afterwards, I'm gonna pause for a minute so I'll get set up for the live art demo demonstrations. Okay, so let's get started. Okay. Art is therapeutic activity that helps people feel better versus art therapy. Art therapy is offered by healthcare professionals with a background in both art, psychology, or counseling. Consider art therapy if you are experiencing high levels of stress, mental health disorder, learning disabilities, brain injuries, chronic illness, and it's very useful for kids, teens with PTSD and depressions. Psychology Today has a search tool to find art therapists in your area. Three of the important prongs of art that promotes are um, brain activity. It promotes brain activity. It provides self-care, and it increases positive mental and well-being. Art promotes self-awareness. It helps release stress, anxiety, confusion through the sense of empowerment. It also increases socializations when done with others. It helps cope with the transitions, facilitates communications, it stimulates self expressions of the feelings, it enhances memory care and creative thinking. It also improves motor and cognitive skills. Art boosts self esteem and creative pursuits provides a sense of accomplishment. Doing art involves both hemispheres of the brain communicating with each other. It boosts your drive, focus, and concentration. It stimulates brain growth of new neurons. Every time you engage in a new or complex activity, your brain creates connections between brain cells. Your brain's ability to grow connections and change through its lifetime is called brain neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is when your brain can change by forming new brain cells and neural connections, improving its capacity throughout its life. One of the studies done by Dr. Arnold Britzi, who created the program called Art Tune-Up, was utilized in art therapy with Alzheimer's and dementia patients. In its study, it showed 70% success rate in improving its patient's memory. 70%, that's quite significant. So what is self-care? Self-care could be a lot of things, means a whole lot of things for other people. But self-care means doing things that helps you manage your day-to-day stress so that it doesn't build up too much. And self-care, I just want to touch that is really important, and it's important for a lot of us. And a lot of us sometimes don't realize how important it is. But particularly for people who are taking care of others, you tend to forget about yourself. And that's something that may hurt you in future. Art for self-care. So no matter your ability levels or amount of experience, art making has shown to lower your um, cortisol levels, which is your stress hormones. Creating art releases your stress, offers relaxations. It can become a new hobby, and it eases the burdens of chronic health conditions. Art lets a person forget about their illness, struggles for a while, and allowing them to focus on the positive life experience. So it does actually help with your aches and pains a little bit, and I'll discuss that a little bit further down. But I just want you to think about this for a second. When you do engage in an art activity, you are so focused on the activity at hand, then for a brief minute, however long it may be, it really does give you a break from your aches and pain. More so, it gives you a break from all those stressors, those thoughts that you're having. And I'll touch a little bit more on that also later. Creating art enables people to maintain a connections to who they were before they got sick, injured, or had a traumatic experience. Doing art increases your positive mental health and well-being. Creating art is an effective way to stimulate your brain, and anyone could do this. Activities like painting, sculpturing, drawing, photography are relaxing and rewarding hobbies that can lower your stress level and leave you feeling mentally clear and calm. Creating art provides the distractions from or gives your brain a break from your usual thoughts. This is intriguing. The average person has about 60,000 thoughts per day, 95% of which are exactly the same in and same out. So pause for a second. If you're stressing out, if you're worrying about X, Y, and Z, about things that you need to do, your day-to-day stressors, the average person has about 60,000 thoughts a day. So about what, 57,000 thoughts of those thoughts that you're having are usually the same things that are keeping you up at night. You know, the stressors, um, anxiety, and so forth. So when you do get immersed in the creative endeavor, you find yourself with what's known as the zone or the state of flow. And this is what I was talking about earlier, that when you do get yourself in that state of flow or zone, you're so focused, so intent about your task at hand, whatever it would be. And this is any type of art, musical art, playing an instrument, anything it is. You're focused for the right there and then, doing that, playing that piano, drawing, painting, whatever it is. You're so focused on it that you actually give your brain a break from the 67 thoughts that are in your brain, in your mind throughout your day. Yeah. Okay. Creating art increases the feel-good neurotransmitters dopamine, according to Diane Albin in 2018 study. And it showed that dopamine stimulates the creations of new neurons that prepares your brain for learning. Leonardo da Vinci once said, painting embraces all 10 functions of your eye. That is to say, darkness, light, color, and, and shape, locations, distance, closeness, motions, and rest. All 10 of them, just by simple painting. Creating art trains you to concentrate on the details and pay attention to your environment, which in a way acts as meditations. Again, once you're in that state of flow, you're so entwined into whatever you're doing, whatever art it may be, that it could really serve as a sense of meditation. Art hobbies of all kind, um, with including quitting, sewing, drawing, photography, woodwork, gardening, do-it-yourself activities, home repairs, all of these lower your dopamine, which works off depression and promotes a healthy aging of your brain. The connections between art, healing, and public health. A visual study done by Scutzi and Noble in 2010 finding was that art helps people express experiences that are too difficult to put in words. Some people with illnesses explore the meanings of their past, their presence, and their future. Doing art therapy, thereby integrating said illness into their life stories and giving it meaning. Many chronic disease are associated with psychosocial difficulties such as depression, chronic stress, which contributes to negative cardiovascular outcomes. Engaging with creative activities has the potential to contribute towards reducing the stress and depressions that can serve as a vehicle to alleviating the burdens of your chronic illness. Art can be a refuge for intense emotions associated with illness. There are no limits to the imaginations in finding creative ways to express your grief. And particularly, molding clay can be a powerful way to help people express their feelings through the tactile movement of the somatic levels, as well as to facilitate communications and psychological release. So when you find yourself feeling not so good, it is a normal experience to feel sadness or loneliness or the blues from time to time. And we all know during these times right now that we all experience a little bit of it. There may be times where it becomes more difficult to shake off those feelings, and we could start feeling stuck or in a cycle again. These feelings are seen as symptoms, just like a cold. It can be addressed and then decrease. So depression, it is in a way kind of like a cold. You know, when you're getting sick, you have the drowsy, you feeling drowsy, or you have the sniffles and so forth. You have little signs of that you're starting to get sick. Well, same thing, when people are in that stage, sometimes that can manifest itself in different ways. It could manifest itself in a change of sleeping patterns or eating patterns, feeling tired all the time. All of these are symptoms that there's something not right. And by taking notice, you could do something about it. And there are different resources out there. One of which is a program at Inland Caregivers Resource Center, ICRC. It's a free program called Pearls. Like Alina was saying, it is a program to encourage active, rewarding lives for seniors. It is for individuals 60 years or older who live in Riverside County. It is an evidence-based program that focuses on decreasing the symptoms of depressions and increases the quality of life. It works with participants, or I should say, it initially started by working with participants in their homes or communities. Unfortunately, because of the pandemic, as of April 2020, sessions are still offered. However, they're offered virtually, either by phone or by video. PROS also helps in building problem-solving skills. It helps recognize and link between the depressive symptoms and the current problems. It increases social, physical, and pleasant activities. So in addition to problem solving and teaching people a skill of how to overcome these problems or obstacles, a lot of times people have unresolved problems, difficulties that just don't know how to deal with it. And at the end, they just throw their hands up in the air and give up. They put it to the side, but after a while, those problems never go away and they start waiting on you. And that's how it manifests itself into, change of sleeping patterns and so forth. In addition to problem solving, we also encourage to increase your social activities, pleasant activities, and physical activities as well within your capacity. As I said earlier, we did send out a list of suggested activities that you could do at home. And these are all things that you could probably do at home. Um, coloring, coloring for calmness. And again, sometimes when you're coloring, even something so simple as coloring, um, you do tend to get a little bit focused because you're thinking, you're deciding what color am I going to use. I need to make sure that I stay within the lines or so forth like that. All of these, your mind, your brain is working, so it's focusing on staying in the line. What color am I going to use? Am I going to go this way? I'm going to go that way. While doing all that, it gives yourself a little break. So remember those 60,000 thoughts that you have throughout the day. Um, by doing a little, even coloring itself, it gives you a little break. It helps you focus on what you're doing on here and now, and gives you a break from all those thoughts that you have, all the stressors. Here are also a list of art supplies and ideas that you have. Again, any kind of writing utensil, even eyeliners or makeup, nail polish, spray paint, ink, toilet paper rolls, yarn strings. Some of these activities you could do, I'm sure you all done it. We all done it at one point in time when we were young. We all remember the macaroni projects that we all did when we were young. We could do these. And in fact, hopefully for most of us, it'll bring a smile to our face when we think about when we were young ourselves, or and doing all these little activities and so forth, rock painting and so forth. Again, these are all activities that you could do. You could do it at home. And a lot of these times are supplies that you already have. Okay. All right. Well, thank you. So again, this is a very simple activity, and it's something that anybody could do. Um, I'm gonna use a Sharpie and a sheet of paper, but again, even a pencil. Actually, a pencil has different shades of gray, so you could use that. Okay, so I'm gonna start. So first thing is that you draw a line across the sheet. It doesn't have to be straight. It could be wibbly, whatever. You know, there's no right or wrong reason to this. It's really um, there's no right or wrong. Anyways, so draw a line across the sheet. You go ahead and start making some little dots. You're gonna be connecting these dots. They don't have to be, in a specific size or not. This could be short, it could be long, be however way you want. Again, there's no right or wrong reasons. So you make little dots, then you start connecting them. Start making little loops around each one. The the closer these lines are, the more detail, the longer it's going to take you. Um, the longer the lines are between each other, the easier you're going to make these loops and the easier you're going to fill this page. This is an activity that, it could take about, 5-10 minutes to do, or it could take 5 or 10 days to do as well. It really all depends on you, depends on um, just how much time you want to take in doing this. So again, you make a line, then you keep on adding little loops, little lines to it. Again, no right or wrong reason, just doing little lines. And as I'm doing these, I'm thinking, okay, I'm connecting these lines. Then I'm also thinking, okay, where am I going to do my next line? Is it going to be straight? Is it going to be, I don't know, square? Again, no right or wrong reason to all of these. You just killing a little bit of time. Um, Again, it could be serve as a meditation, so to speak. Also, your focus right now is on the task at hand. You're not focused on what's bugging you. If you're taking care of someone, are they okay or not? Your focus right now is like, where's going to be my next line? Where's going to be my next stop? And again, by doing that, hopefully you're not thinking on your day-to-day stressors, those 60,000 thoughts that we're having each time. My point on doing this is It is a simple activity that does give you a break. Um, it's something that is quite simple, like as you see it right now. It doesn't really have any right or reason to it. There's just lines to it. It could be, um, you could spend, like I was telling you, you could spend um, 5 minutes. You could spend 5 hours or 5 days. Is the point of this activity is to give yourself, give your mind, your brain a break from all the stressors. Paying a little bit of attention to the details, meaning um, where's going to be my next line, what color am I going to use if you do decide to paint it. Um, all of these things that you're doing does give your mind a break from the stressors. Make this work with anything, basically almost anything that you would have. Um, I think I answered. Was I answer your question? Sorry, I lost my train of thought.
No
See, I'm
problem.
so
No, that's the point. That's the point, right?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and
No,
it's
that's
it's it's funny, but I did kind of lost my train of thought because I was busy. I was like, okay, where am I gonna do the next line? But
no,
yeah,
I love it. Case in point, that's the point. And I even noticed that for a certain second there, you started connecting the dots in a little bit of a different pattern. So instead of doing the left side, the right side, you were kind of doing like a snake motion. And I noticed that, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting how when you do, it's really just like, I think our mental our inner thoughts and our attention, I think of it kind of like a flashlight, right? So we do have limitations on where our mind can be, and all we have to do is maybe just point the flashlight on something else. And so when you're doing art, you're just kind of pointing that flashlight on a different activity instead of just letting it go wherever it wants to go and follow those same 70,000 thoughts every day. But can you show us one more time, Joel, the final product of what you're doing?
sure. And so when I this is the final product, art piece. When I did this, I actually did the outline myself, and the outline it took me about I would say about 3 hours or so, just doing the outline with no colors. Um, I acquired some assistance with my mom. I had her coloring all the shapes, all the colors, and everything else. And that took, I don't know, it took your 3 hours or so, 3 4 hours. And again, it really just depend on your time and honestly, once you emerge in this, you kind of lose track of time sometimes. And going back to the state of flow, you do you're so entwined on, you know, am I gonna color what color am I gonna do this? I'm gonna do gray, blue, purple, whatever it is. I'm gonna do another line. You're so focused on all these little things that are going through your mind that you honestly giving yourself a break where it's like, oh man, you know, is my husband, my grandkids, or whoever you're taking care of, are they okay? Are they doing good? What am I gonna do for dinner? You know, what am I gonna cook? You give yourself a break for that, and that's that's if you get anything from this presentation, please get that. Um, Doing something so simple as just a Sharpie and that um, took me what 3 hours to do. Obviously, if you want to make it bigger, it's not gonna have that much um, details to it, but you're still going to give you the same benefits. You know, it just might be a little bit short period. But doing this does give you a break from the mundane, from those 70,000 thoughts that are probably stressing you out. When you do partake in this and you involve other people in it, whether it be in person, if you have them in your household, again, loved one, grandkid, spouse, whoever it may be, you are socializing. You're focused on this, but at the same time, you're socializing with someone else. You're conversing. you know, and we all need to socialize to a certain extent. We're all mammals, we all socialize. Um, or even doing it this virtually. For those that are at home, if you're doing it, if you're, coloring a coloring book, same thing. You're focused on what color you're gonna paint this, or you're gonna stay within the line. But doing it with someone else, it just um, adds to the benefits.
And I love that activity sheet that you shared with me, which is also in the chat, and I'll email out. But there's a lot of stuff that's lying around our house that I wouldn't think of to use. Like you said, you mentioned makeup is such a good point. Like I would not think of that, but that's a good idea, and it's something that we can use. So
All those makeups that are no longer your colors, no longer something you care for. You find another use to it.
yeah,
And
definitely.
and some of these also activities, it brings me back, and I think it brings most of us back when we were kids. And it could also serve as a pleasant memory to have. We all remember the macaroni arts we did when we were young. Even finger painting art, stuff like that. All of these seem kind of simple and maybe a little bit silly, but it helps. And for most of us, I hope it gives a little smile in our faces, lighten us up a little bit. And again, give us a break from those 60,000 thoughts that we always have.
Yeah. Somebody said a good old box of Crayola. Oh, I love this Crayola crayons. Childhood memories. I don't know why I like that smell, but I just wanted to mention one other thing because it really did stand out to me, Joel, as you were saying. I think this was on one of your slides, but that art connects you excuse me, art connects you to who you were before, whether it's before you got sick, if you have a chronic illness, or maybe before, you were a caregiver even. It connects you to that person. And so I would encourage you guys to watch that video too, if you'd like, on your free time, because I think that it illustrates that point too. But we all, along our journey of just living in this world that we're living in, can get disconnected from our inner child, or, our most healthy, vibrant self. And that's so true. And it doesn't have to be, this big 2-hour arts and crafts session. It could just be maybe 10 minutes at the end of every night. You just color in like 10 more sections of that doodle that you showed us, and every night you just color in 10 sections. And then at the end of the week, you have a finished product. And maybe that's kind of what sparks it.
Some of those pieces, it's not as straight. Not I was for lack of better terms, or lack of better words, it's not like straight. But we all see some of these artworks where they're like it's more like drafting, where there's just straight lines and lines after that, and you shade it in. That's also very time consuming. You have to stick in the lines. This is a cheat way to do so because you're just doodling all around, and there's no right or wrong reason to it. You could go a line this way, a line that way. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, and it adds to the design because it's so cool when you showed the colored inversion. It looks like it has a lot of depth, and it looks very three-dimensional. So it even makes it look even better.
And pen and paper would do the same thing. I remember those pencils that have different shades of gray. The harder you scroll in, the lighter you do, different shades. So it has the same effect.
So true. Well, thank you so much, Joel, for your time this evening, and thank you for the presentation. If there are no more comments or questions, which thank you, by the way, for those questions and just for your interaction tonight. We appreciate you every time you join us for our support groups, and we're really happy to share whatever ideas or resources come to mind. If you have any suggestions for maybe future support group topics, let me know. I'll actually go ahead and put my email quickly in the chat. Joel, do you have any final words or anything you'd like to share before we end our webinar this evening?
Oh, I just want to thank you all for giving me the time and opportunity to come and do this art presentation with you all. Hopefully, I'll see you again in the near future. I'm also going to type my email, and I have my phone number on top. So if you guys, again, um, are experiencing symptoms like this and you can't seem to shake it off, there are programs out there. There are a lot of programs out there, and resources for people. So I implore you, I encourage you to, just like a cold, we all have symptoms. We have the sniffles, runny nose, stuff like that. That's something that we're catching a cold. Well, if you're starting experiencing these sadness that you can't seem to shake off, their persistence, sometimes you may feel like stuck. There are programs out there, programs like Pearls that could be out there to help you. One of the benefits about Pearls, it's a free program. It doesn't cost you a dime. It doesn't ask you any questions regarding your medical insurance or anything like that. It doesn't interfere with any other benefits or programs you have. Um, and it's out there. It's free. It's not for everyone because there's no such thing as a one size fits all for everybody. Um, but it's a really good program. It's evidence based, and just like any other thing, the more you put into it, the more you'll get back.